issues. On today's agenda, I think it's number 15, I just noticed that there is a request for $260,000 from Clerk of Courts Faith Andrews, and it is for the Visitors Bureau, something to do with the wineries. And I'm just asking for perhaps explain to me. I know that I was at the budget meeting for the Clerk of Courts, and they have about $5 million. How does that actually work as far as, does the Clerk of Courts have total control over that, or is that really under the control of the commissioners? I would assume that there has to be some sort of checks and balances, and one person can't automatically dictate where the money is to be spent. It's got to ultimately go through the commissioners. Is that not correct?
Yes, well, just for those who may be wondering, just handed some graphics. Has nothing to do with this. I apologize for the distraction.
Okay, I'm sorry.
If anybody wants to know what in the heck we're talking about, but this has to do with item number 1,
okay,
not item number 15. I apologize, I'm scrambling. I believe you're going to find that the appropriation in, okay, let me unpack this, and if I screw something up, I'm doing a good faith effort. I believe you're talking about an appropriation increase of $275,000, not $260,000.
I'm looking at here that equates to approximately 260.
Fair enough. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing and what is before this board for consideration.
Okay.
When we get to
something happened in the number. All right, 275.
So this is just this is a two-step process. This is just doing the appropriation increase. This is not taking the money out of the $5+ million and moving it to the general fund with an understanding that it's going to go to the Visitors Bureau. So hopefully I've answered that question. As far as the certificate of title, as I understand it, I don't know that I do see some representatives here from there. Those dollars are generated in title because of fees that are charged. One of the things I believe is called poundage. When transactions take place, there are dollars that are accumulated. Their level of efficiency is such that they are able to do the job for less than the overall cost of the performance of that task. Those numbers are set, I believe, by statute. I'm looking to legal, so throw something at me if I say something that's not accurate.
Well, if you
chime in, sir, please.
Yes, certificate of title fund is under the Clerk of Courts operation, and there's also statutory authority for at some point in time, depending on the monies in that fund, there can be a declaration of excess funds in that. And it would be determined by both the Clerk of Courts as well as the Board of Commissioners, and that those funds that are declared excess would then go to the county general fund. Okay,
so there's definitely a check and balance in there, and that's just not one person. I'm not referring to Faith Andrews as a one person, just any Clerk of Court. I'm just trying to understand the process for the citizens that they generate. I know it's not called profit in government, but they generate revenue in excess of their expenses, so their surplus funds. And that money then, if it's declared surplus, can be used within the community. It can't be given back to the taxpayers. Is that correct? It has to be spent.
It goes to the general fund, and the Board of Commissioners has control over the general fund, and there's various expenditures that are allowed by law, and that's what happens.
Okay, thank you very much. So I understand that process then. But the $275,000 now, what are we purchasing for $275,000, and who will benefit from the expenditure?
Well, we can have this conversation now or when we get to item 15, which I'm kind of thinking that might make more sense, but it's...
May I come up and listen to that then? I'll wait.
We're not going to throw you out of the room.
Okay. All right.
You have the right to hear. But in brief, it has to do with Well, I could just, Faith Andrews, Lake County Clerk of Courts, I have a communication dated March 1, 2023. Dear Commissioners, County Administrator Jason Boyd and Budget Director Mike Matus, I am in receipt of Mr. Boyd's email dated February 28th and March 1, 2023, relative to COT, which I believe is Certificate of Title funding for various projects, new paragraph. In that regard, as provided in section 325.33 of the Ohio Revised Code, I wish to declare an excess of $275,000, open parenthesis, $275,000, close parenthesis, and request that it be transferred to the general fund, period, new paragraph. I would respectfully request that this surplus be allocated to the fund proposed Gateway Arch and photo op signage project for Lake County's Visitors Bureau relative to the Grand River Valley region, period. Thank you in advance for your consideration. I remain sincerely Faith Andrews, Clerk of Courts, and it shows enclosure. Again, the details.
How many wineries do we have? How many businesses do we have in the wineries?
In the region or in Lake County?
Say in the region, I guess.
Numerous.
It was
Wow.
up to
Neil
35.
Stein, if you're watching, please come upstairs. Neil's one of our frequent visitors. Visitors Bureau viewers.
I believe it was up to 35, but it seems like we had.
Well, if there's 30 or 35, I'm just thinking, as a businesses that if we're going to spend $275,000, then those 35 businesses are going to benefit from that, and that's, I don't know, what is that, $7,000, $8,000 that they could actually come up with the money on their own to build an arch. And do the people of Lake County have to spend the $275,000? I just bring that to the commissioner's attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I do actually have that to have a little more detailed discussion on it when we get to that point. I just don't want to have the conversation.
I won't get you out of the sequence.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your understanding.